I've not seen such bravery.
It might be hard to remember these days, but Survivor used to be one of the hottest shows on television. It's one of, if not the earliest memory I have of must-see TV, when everyone was getting together to watch so they wouldn't get left behind. Upon review, Survivor is pretty much just a scouting trip for adults. You camp outside, build fires, and play games, almost like it's a slightly more intense version of summer camp. The show also encouraged high school cliques by having the tribe vote off a member every episode. Perhaps the best thing about Survivor is that it all seemed almost attainable, just enough to make everyone at home think they might be able to do it themselves, when in reality they're just sitting on the couch and watching TV. Well, now you too can be a survivor with Survivor the Interactive Game. Released in 2001, it promises to be the ultimate adventure simulation, and it says that it's the show plus you. You'll exert every last ounce of energy as you push your endurance to the limit. And just look at this grueling physical challenge. They're rolling logs into lava. Like, this game isn't messing around. We open with clips from the show as it explains the game's format. Now I feel like you're not really gonna go out and buy a Survivor game without knowing the show's format already, but you know, they're covering their bases. That's fine. Me? I mean, probably not, but we might as well find out anyway. You're able to play as the actual cast of the first and second seasons if you'd like. I mean, I realize that being able to take control of BB here is kind of a hard offer to pass up. He's so young and spry looking, just don't lose those glasses, okay buddy? I'm creating my own character though, because I think it's more fun, and also I don't know who any of these people are. Okay, well you don't actually create a character, you just kinda choose from a list of pre-made characters and edit their stats. Everyone looks boxy and horrible. There's really nothing that stands out with any of these characters. That is, except for Norm. Beautiful, perfect Norm with that horrible mustache on his face. This is it. This is our champion. I didn't mess with his name, occupation, or even his stats, because let's face it, you can't improve perfection. We're gonna be playing a short game because I don't quite hate myself enough to play a longer one. This starts us out at day 1 of episode 11, and we enter the first phase of the game, the survival period. It begins with choosing a job to perform for the camp, and I'm assuming your performance is based off all those stats I totally didn't memorize a little while ago. The important thing is that Norm is stealthily blending in with all of these real people. I mean, you'd never even know he wasn't a real person. I'm gonna put him on food gathering because it seems like a difficult job to mess up. You also have an opportunity to adjust your emotional energy to help foster stronger or weaker relationships with other players. Welcome to the survival period. Yeah, I know, it looks sad. And really, it is sad. You'd think that the survival period would have a strong emphasis on surviving, but all of the surviving is done for us. Norm moves on his own, performing whatever duty we assign to him. Not that that's a completely bad thing. I mean, the world is barren and just depressing. I doubt anyone would have fun exploring this place. Instead, the survival period is all about talking to your tribe members. You can talk to anybody, even if you're nowhere near them, and your goal for this round is more or less to manipulate how the voting is going to go in the final phase. Basically, you want to make everyone hate someone other than you. Now this is all well and good, except that every conversation you have is horrible. Most of the time you're only able to choose from a few dialogue options, and they're all either incredibly repetitive or completely nonsensical. Here are some examples of the fantastic conversations I had in the first survival period.
Feels like we've been out here for 6 months.
I think you can hold out.
Well, I've got work to do.
Man, I'm hungry. I'd give anything for a pizza.
Do you know how to cook rice?
No.
Sometimes I don't know who to trust.
Don't you trust me?
I trust you totally.
I trust you totally.
Thanks.
Well, I've got work to do.
Okay, bye.
Who do you think is the weakest?
I think Colleen is the weakest.
Colleen is on edge.
Colleen seems fine to me. What did you hear?
I have no idea. You won't talk to me.
I wish the whole tribe was like Colleen.
Definitely.
I can't believe what you get away with.
I smell beef jerky. I have a feeling that Survivor's dialogue was a bit better than this game is leading me to believe. I also feel like these camps are ridiculous. Like, where did all of these barrels come from? What, did they just happen to find a rare barrel tree growing in the Australian outback? The next phase is the reward challenge, where survivors compete against each other to win some type of fancy perk, like an apple, some lawn chairs, or even a romantic date that comes with some guy looming over the table. Like, that's not creepy. In the show, a clue was left near camp to give survivors a taste of what's to come, and the game does the same thing even though you're gonna play the game like 2 seconds later. These questions will prove if you know what is what and who is who in this land of the red kangaroo. Oh god, oh no, it's trivia! You remember the episode where all the survivors stood around in a circle and took turns answering trivia questions, right? Wasn't that exciting?
Survivors ready! Go!
Oh man, look at them go! They're going so hard right now, and then they have to stop and wait patiently until it's their turn to answer a question, like a true survivor. The Australian Aborigines probably originally came from. You can't ask me a trivia question if you don't even know the answer. That's not how this works. What's worse is that you actually have to wait for everybody to take a turn, and they make noises each time they answer a question.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
So that's 2 phases in a row that are repetitive and take up too much time. That's good.
Yes.
BB ended up winning because there are also survivor-themed questions in here, and how the hell am I supposed to know how long Keith stood for in the Pillar Challenge? Although all of these answers would be pretty impressive to me. I mean, they're all longer than I probably stand in any given month. Since he won, BB gets to spend an evening with a relative from home, which increases mental energy. And why wouldn't it? I mean, check out this hottie. Next up is, another survival period. Another 3.5 minutes of horrible talking. The only useful thing I can think to do is try to throw somebody under the bus. I'll just turn on BB since he won that challenge, which he clearly should have just let me win. Everyone's opinion seems to be totally random, so if you just keep telling someone that you think another member is going to vote them out, most of the time you're able to convince them to be on your side. It's time consuming, but it's not time consuming enough. 3.5 minutes feels like an eternity, especially since there's nothing to do but wait around once you're done talking to people. The immunity challenge is up next, and it seems like it's the first thing that actually matters. Good thing it's happening 20 minutes into the game. This particular challenge is an on-rail shooter where you use a slingshot to hit signs that are worth either 1 or 4 points. The hardest part about this game is the waiting. The stage is 2 minutes and 56 seconds long, and there's only 18 targets, which means, by using the power of math, we can clearly see that it's boring and horrible. The saddest part about it, though, is that it's also the best part of the game. The only good news is that BB didn't win, which means we're able to vote him out during the next phase. I think I'm also gonna go ahead and start turning on Amber, because, why not? Now it's time for the infamous Tribal Council. In the show, contestants have to strategically vote for people they want to leave the tribe. It's very tense because people have to consider alliances, performance around the camp, performance in challenges, and they have to decide if anyone might be a threat later on. In this game though, I mean, the only thing I know about the characters come from these horrible dialogue boxes, so it's not really tense, and I don't really care who leaves as long as it isn't me. Thanks to all of my expert scheming and social manipulation, BB has been voted off, even though I totally forgot my scheme and voted for Amber instead, but we don't have to focus on that part.
The tribe has spoken.
The tribe has spoken, BB, so get out of here. Oh man, look at him go. He's like running / skating away into the abyss, and then I guess he just kinda has to stand there for the rest of eternity. Everything we just did was 1 episode, and it took me about 30 minutes to get through it all. Good thing we picked the short game type, because at this rate, it would take 6.5 hours to play through a full game. From here, the game basically repeats itself. This time I spent all of my survivor periods trash-talking Amber. Well, okay, I spent some of the time trash-talking Amber, but most of the time I was just kinda sitting here waiting for this horribly boring section to be over. The second reward challenge is another trivia game, but hey, at least we're standing in a different formation this time. I mean, that makes it more interesting, right? I really don't see why I have to sit here and wait for computers to answer multiple choice questions. Like, whose idea was this? And it doesn't help that all of the audio clips just sound like I'm watching some huge orgy or something.
Yes. Yes.
What are you doing? I smell beef jerky.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Norm ended up winning the game on a correct answer about triangulation. I have a sneaking suspicion that his mustache was feeding all of the right answers to him, but I don't think there's any rules against that. We win a fancy wine and cheese picnic. Surprisingly, the game doesn't show us sitting and drinking wine for 30 minutes, but you know, I guess the survival period isn't much better. I spent 3.5 minutes telling everyone what a horrible person Amber was, and then won immunity in a game where you had to throw torches onto a platform for some reason. Once again, you have to actually wait for everybody to take their turn, and it doesn't even give you a good view, like, yeah, I'm really glad I waited to see this. Obviously, Amber gets voted out, proving once again that starting horrible rumors is cool, fun, effective, and harms no one. Well, I mean, nobody except Amber, but who cares? Have you heard what people are saying about her lately? There are no more reward challenges, so after starting more rumors, this time about Kelly, we go right to an immunity challenge where you take turns walking around a board, essentially playing a game of Snake. If you can't move anymore, you lose. Norm was still pretty hungover after his wine and cheese party and got out first, and then I just had to watch the rest of the game play out. But not the full game, just this little area here, because that's good game design. Kelly gets the boot by a long shot, leaving only 3 survivors. I spend the survival period talking the 2 ladies into voting each other off, and then get tossed into a frustrating immunity challenge. The only explanation I'm given is that it's a puzzle, a race, and when my done, the fire will make the final run. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, so I just start trying to make the lines into a complete circle. It's really the only thing I could think of. In reality, you're just supposed to connect the fire to the logs, which isn't even a puzzle. I mean, you barely even have to try. But I couldn't even see the logs in the opening screen. Like, how was I supposed to know that? The clue wasn't any help either. Prepare your brain for a rough ride. You'll have to strain to save your hide. I mean, I'm pretty sure that has absolutely nothing to do with the challenge. But when you finally solve the puzzle, just look at that fire go. It's so accurate. No matter. Norm and his mustache are so smooth, I know I'll be safe. I mean, he's so smooth, Colleen even voted herself out. Like, that is some impressive convincing right there. The last part of this game is the final tribal council, where all of the past members of your tribe judge you. Instead of voting for the person they want kicked out, they all cast votes on who they think should win.
Jerry.
Norm.
Jerry. Jerry. Tribe has spoken.
You know what? I don't even care. The majority of this game was just kind of sitting around waiting for time to run out anyway, and it looks like the only thing the winner gets to do is whatever this is. Good night, Norm. I don't know where you're headed, but I wish you and your mustache the best of luck. I speak for everyone when I say you really did touch all of our hearts.